Excellent. David, we'll have you call the meeting to order and take roll call, and we'll go from there.
You bet. Good morning, everybody. I'd like to call this meeting to order for the Tourism Funds Review for 2022. It is 10 o'clock on Tuesday, the 13th. So just want to check to see what representatives we have here. So do we have a representative from Rotary? Looks like Jeff, you're here.
I'm here.
Okay.
We got Bob in council chambers as well.
Thank you. Do we have a representative from the Hub Sports Center?
Yep. Phil's in council chambers.
Okay. Do we have a representative from the Theater at the Lake?
Yeah, we got Kyle in the audience as well.
Awesome. And bear with me just a moment. Do we have a representative from the Kiwanis for the yard sale?
Anybody online from Kiwanis?
Okay. All right. Do we have somebody from Winterglow?
I know Mark was unavailable, but he was gonna have somebody speak on. Okay, perfect. So
Awesome. I think that covers all of the parties involved.
excellent. Then let's do a quick roll call for commissioners. David.
David Heimbaugh, and who else do we have from the commissioner? So do we have I'm just looking through our list here.
We have
Bear
John
with me a
Elwich
moment.
in council chambers.
Yes, you do.
Okay.
We have
Say
Shannon.
that name.
Yep.
Shannon, I see that.
Yes.
And is Denise on from Quality Inn? Do we have Denise on?
Also, too, there was one more on that list.
Wendy Van Orman is the council
Yes.
representative. And so she indicated that she was not going to be able to make our time here.
Okay, perfect. Is that covered there, Kyle?
Yep, we're all covered. Yep.
Right there. Is there any comments on the agenda that before we begin? Okay, see none. I'd like to move on if there are any visitors that would like to speak in the public comments.
Any public comment?
Anybody?
Nope, I think we're good here.
All right, see none, we'll move on. So we want to review the commissioner terms. Kyle, can you enlighten me on that, please?
Absolutely. So just, with the onset of the pandemic, the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee meeting has essentially met once a year over the last couple of years. They did not meet in 2020. And so what we're going to do in the early part of 2023 is really just re-identify council or commissioner terms. So what is required per the ordinance is that we have representation from the hotels within the city. We have two hotels. We have the Best Western and the Quality Inn. And currently we have Denise Mertens from Quality Inn and John Helwich from Best Western serving in that capacity. We do have a council representative, and that was identified last March, I believe, as Wendy Van Orman. And then we have two business representations, that is David Heimbaugh and Shannon. And so with that, we can open it up. If there is any desire from both Shannon and David to re-up their position, it will be for a 2-year term. And we can have those conversations offline. We don't need to hold you to anything right now. So I just want everybody to be aware of that and what that's going to look like. We'll have an agenda bill go before City Council, probably sometime, I imagine, in February or March, identifying who the commissioners are and what their term is going to be.
Perfect. Thanks, Kyle. So with that, just wanted to briefly mention what exactly the hotel motel tax lodging is. So this is funding for the program comes from the City of Liberty Lake Tourism, which receives hotel motel taxes from lodging establishments inside the city limits. The city collects a 2% tax on the sale or charge made of lodging within the City of Liberty Lake. So with that, I would like to move on to review the 5 applications we've received. And starting with Liberty Lake Rotary Club. Jeff, do you want to speak on behalf of Rotary?
I think I'll defer to Bob since he's there in person, but I can definitely add in any comments.
Sure.
And yeah, what we can do, we can have each person just give a short kind of synopsis of what their event is, and then essentially field any questions.
Okay, so this is Bob with the Liberty Lake Rotary Club, and the Rim Ride is the Rotary in Motion Club. We just had our 10th annual event last year, and prior to the pandemic, we had we were creeping up towards 650 to 700 riders. Bring them into Liberty Lake as far reaching, from Canada, people come from out of town. Many places to come here to enjoy this ride. Of course, during the pandemic, we got hit pretty hard in our first year, and we had to cancel it. And then last year, we had about 300 riders. That's about right. So we had about 300 riders last year, and we're hoping to get back to our pre-pandemic levels with some creative marketing and social media posts. So it is a good event. It's something that the riders talk about as being one of their highlights. We've also tried to get more creative in the date that we choose, because the last couple of years we also competed with the Grand Fondo out of Coeur d'Alene, which they had traditionally been on the last weekend in September, and so they moved up to our weekend because they got rained and hailed on twice in their weekend, and we had beautiful weather, and so they were pretty jealous of that. So they moved their date up, and there's only so many people out there that are willing to go ride 50 and 100 miles, and so it really kind of hurt both events. So we have chosen to change our date this next year, so that it's the second weekend, right, in September, to try to maximize the amount of people that are going to participate. Any questions?
So committee members have the application project summary for the Rotary Ride.
I'd like to, first of all, say congrats on the local marketing.
Oh.
We had the opportunity to carry a lot of your flyers, pamphlets, and those type of things at the hotel.
Okay.
Some folks would ask us about them, and we were able to at least share. I believe I might have met you actually in person at one point, or at least one of your representatives who came by, dropped off some of those materials for us.
Sure.
So we appreciate that. Let me ask you, how did you actively promote the Best Western quality during 2022?
Well, I don't know if they are part of on our website. I don't know, would Jeff be able to?
They are.
Or Brian? Okay.
They are.
All right. So on our website there, and so when we have everything that we pass out to has refers everyone to the website there. And so that's listed as local accommodations.
Do you think your organization could provide additional promotion for the hotels providing this funding?
Absolutely. I mean, especially for the cross marketing like that, and to be able to help out in what, a big purpose of the event, to be able to bring people in to the community and add funding to there. So
Should require any additional investment on the hotel's part?
Well, I think that this the purpose of this grant should help go towards that type of investment. So I don't think we would need additional investment. I think that just maybe some suggestions. We'd be totally open to suggestions if there's things that you'd like for us to do.
Hey, Bobby, this is Jeff. I was just going to add too, we're definitely open to any suggestions to, from your end that we can do better, because that is our goal, to put more people to stay here locally. And we have found that surprisingly last year, when our numbers were down, we actually had more people come in from out of town, which was kind of ironic.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'd be happy to even just meet, and talk about brainstorm some ideas of how we can improve. We could go over our current strategy and what we have listed. And then figure out, ways that we can do that. Even with cross marketing and tagging each other in social media posts, because we found that our most effective way of advertising has been through social media over the past, 4 or 5 years. That's been the most productive.
Thank you. Those are all the questions I had.
All right, hearing none other, we can move on.
All right, get back to my agenda here. I lost my view on that, Kyle. Who's up next on that list, please?
Not a problem. We'll have Phil from Hub give a short update on their events for 2023.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. So my name is Phil Champlin. I'm the executive director for Hub Sports Center. We're a 501c3 nonprofit located here in Liberty Lake. And our purpose is to provide events that have a positive impact on youth and community. We appreciate the opportunity to come and apply for these funds this year. For 2022, we had about 40 events that would have the potential to generate overnight stays, 17 with volleyball, 12 basketball, 8 camps. In addition, we had pickleball, cornhole, and the Dwarf Athletic Association of America. In the packet, I included an impact on tourism sheet that kind of detailed out where people were coming from. We showed about 52% of the folks that we're tracking were coming in from more than 50 miles away. This grant is really to help all the events that we do throughout the year. So we don't have one specific event that we're asking for. We're asking for support for all the events that we bring to the community. A couple of our partner organizations, so P&Q, Volleyball Qualifier, AAU Hoop Fest events, Evergreen Region Volleyball, and the State Middle School Basketball Championships are all partner organizations that we work with and we host at the Hub for their events and tournaments. And then we continue to develop and expand on our own events through futsal, pickleball, basketball, volleyball, leagues and tournaments. We do a SummerSlam high school basketball event in the summertime, as well as high school volleyball all-star games. This year we worked with NBC Camps and hosted a team camp for their group in the summertime, and a couple other new basketball groups. All Academic Basketball Camp and Recruit Nation Basketball brought people in from 4 or 5 states here next to us. For 2023, we're working with the new group that's just off of Appleway called ITZ Sports Performance. We're going to host a big basketball event with them in May, and then we're hosting our own Winter Freeze basketball tournament in January. So we continue to look for events that not only benefit our community and our local kids and families can take advantage of, but also events that are bringing in people from out of the area that are staying in our local hotels here. And I'm happy to answer any questions or clarify anything that was included in our packet.
That's John Hellick from Best Western. I'd like to ask you same questions.
Sure.
Still, how did you actively promote the Best Western and Quality Inn?
Yeah, so we actually have all the hotels in Spokane Valley and Liberty Lake listed on our website. And then, as you know, we also offer opportunities for hotels if they want to enhance their listing. They can be a sponsor as part of that as well and have more details about their hotel.
Have you followed up to find out how the hotels in Liberty Lake have been doing with obtaining overnight stays based on Hub activities?
I haven't. I've reached out to the Quality Inn. I've reached out to you at different times just to talk about sponsorship and opportunities there, and really haven't had much feedback from either hotel. And it's not specific to Liberty Lake. It's something that all the hotels, when I talk to Spokane Valley as well, struggling with right now in terms of just having staff to track and get back and give me those types of details. But based on information I have from before, when Pepper Tree was running that hotel and we were running events, the numbers that I listed in that packet there are extrapolated from the expanse of the events that we do now versus what we were doing 5-6 years ago, and that percentage of travelers that were staying in Liberty Lake and staying in Spokane Valley.
Sure. I guess I could run you, the Pepper Tree information was 8 years old.
Absolutely. And like I
So-
said, I've reached out and we've had conversations. And so, yeah, I'm at a loss in terms of specifically what you are tracking.
No, I'm quite interested because we actually do not receive a benefit from Hub Sports.
Okay.
We have less than 100 night stays per year. And in order to participate in Hub advertising, we're required to spend additional funds rather than actually receiving active promotion from a Liberty Lake facility. We're required to pay additional in order to gain listings over Spokane Valley. Just mentioning that because it just seemed to be counter to the information that you had provided. Do you think there's anything that you could do in 2023 to actively support the Best Western without requiring additional support?
I think that what we do is we let our groups know that are coming to town that we have hotels that are nearby. And like I said, and as you mentioned, that we have enhanced listings that other hotels have chosen to do and support. And so they're obviously at the top of that list there. We also get lodging tax support from the city of Liberty Lake and from that hotel association as well. We ask about a quarter of that versus what we ask in Spokane Valley.
Do you think it would be right? Well, I guess like PNQ or Pacific Northwest Qualifier,
Mhm.
possibly the single largest event that you do annually?
It depends on what you're measuring, but in terms of overall economic revenue for the greater Spokane area, yes, it's the largest single event that happens.
Are you aware that they require a kickback?
Yes,
Okay. Are you also aware that they will remove any team from competition that does not stay at a hotel that they choose?
yes.
Those are the questions I have.
Okay. And John, happy to sit down with you and have conversations beyond this as well, as you know. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of the way that P&Q operates and how they do it with every hotel in the market. Right, wrong, and different. I don't have any control over that.
Understood. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Those are all the questions I have.
And then Kyle, if I may, I got one more comment.
Absolutely.
So the city also has a fund through lodging that was set aside many years ago for economic development and new programs and whatnot. And so the hub's in a position to expand on our capacity to serve. We acquired 17 acres that are adjacent to our property or in the process of developing outdoor ball fields, which would increase our ability to serve our local community as well as to bring in other events and activities that would generate overnight stays. And so we will have a request before council in early part of 23 to look at some of those funds to help support that development of that property.
Perfect. And just to expand a little bit on what Phil's identified here, is there's an additional 1.3% lodging tax that is geared specifically towards capital purchases, capital acquisitions. And so this tax was put in place in 2016. There have not been a request for funds for this activity to date. So this will be the first application of these funds that the lodging tax and the city council will hear coming up.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Phil in the Hub Sports Center? All right, seeing none, we can move on to Theater at the Lake.
Kyle Smock from Tack at the Lake is going to give a brief synopsis of what their plan for 2023, and then we can field any questions from there.
Hello, thank you. Yes, Kyle Smock, representative of the Board of Directors at Tack at the Lake Community Theater here in Liberty Lake. For those that aren't familiar with Tack at the Lake, we're a 501c3 community theater organization. It was the combination of two organizations just the year before COVID. So providing community theater in the Liberty Lake area for over 10 years. 100% nonprofit organization. Everything that we're able to produce through ticket sales and concession sales and donations goes right back into our program. We are 100% volunteer supported and volunteer run. And that's pretty impressive, honestly, because it is a full business that's operating year round. We do 60 performance days a year through 5 different what we call main stage shows, which are large shows that have 6 to 8 weeks of rehearsal, and then 2 to 3 weekends of performance times. We generally serve 4,000 audience members a year and well over 140 performers. And it's from the performers as well as the audience members that we're generating some lodging nights. I wouldn't argue that I'm putting more people in a hotel than a sporting event in the area, but we certainly are bringing in out of town family members for performances and for activities that are going on, as well as many cast members stay. Our Saturday night into Sunday is a pretty tight turnover for our show. So we do have many cast members spend the night at the Best Western in general. So we're hoping to use our lodging tax grant money this year to sponsor our upcoming season. We've asked for funds in the past and used it mostly for infrastructure related purposes, but this year we're going to do it for supporting the entire season, which will allow us to divert funds to things like advertising, which is one of the biggest costs for us. And so one of the things that we do the least amount. But we're still able to fill seats on a pretty regular basis. So we'd like to increase our advertising more centered towards the Liberty Lake community. And not just in advertising for performances, audience members, but also for cast members as well. And in anticipating John's questions, I'm gonna just lay out too that in the past we have always had we have a program, either a digital or a hard copy program that we present with every performance. We've had advertisements in there for the hotels in town, as well as what we call kind of friends of the theater, Trailbreaker, that kind of thing. We're actually going to implement starting in January on our website. We'll have a friends of the theater page, which will have specific businesses, and through lodging tax grants, we'll certainly be highlighting the hotel businesses on there as well. I think that's about all I have. Any questions?
Thank you.
All right, I answered your question before you got it.
All right, David, Shannon, any questions?
None for me.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Next up, did we end up having somebody from Winterglow?
Yes, David, Tom Solberg.
Fantastic.
Hi, Tom. Welcome.
I can't see you too well. Can you see me or hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
I see you fine and hear you fine.
All right, thank you. My name's Tom Solberg. I'm a resident of the city of Liberty Lake and involved in all things Liberty Lake, residing in the River District. First of all, I want to say I love the Rotary, the Hub, the theater at the lake in Kiwanis, and have been involved with all of them at one time or another. I just met with Kyle a little while ago. They're all very deserving of consideration, and I appreciate all of the work that they do. Winterglow, as you know, started in 2019 with Commissioner Heimbaugh and myself, hearing the first pitch and then making the first recommendation to the city council. And this is the 4th year that we have put it on. It is a no-cost event put on totally by volunteers. It is an official 501c3. In terms of what it does for the city, I'm not real sure that we have quantified it. We have not put out counters. We haven't put security out there. All of those things cost money. All of our money goes to the displays, to the maintenance, for 48 days consecutively, starting a little before Thanksgiving and going on until the first of the year. The ask this year, I think, I'm not sure what was put in front of you, is somewhere in the neighborhood of $10,000 to $15,000, which I think is similar to what they've done before. In terms of need, we have done some fundraising this year. Thank you to the Kiwanis for helping us. You actually helped sponsor. I think, Phil, you did too, with the hub, and we appreciate your working together with us. The city council spent all of the ARPA money on other things, and we would have probably put in another request to the city council during that time. And of course, I'd have to recuse myself from that ask. I think that's pretty much the presentation. It's the premier lighted event. It's free. It's listed as the #1 event now in the, I think it's a GSI publication for the Northwest winter. And that includes some other well-known. Sorry.
Go ahead, Tom.
And that includes some other very well-known displays up in Manatone, Winterfest, and others. So any questions, I'll try to answer.
This is John Howard from the Best Western. The direct question is, could you tell me how this benefits local hotels?
Hi, John. We've met. I've come to you a couple of different times looking for sponsorship. Again, we don't quantify how many people come in, but anybody that comes in to stay for the holidays from out of town, and I know that the Best Western was, as I told you before, back in the Santillan age, it was a place that I used to stay when I came into Liberty Lake. Both with Best Western and the Quality Inn, I think benefit, but I don't know how many people stay the night. We know that families stay sometimes for more than a week, and they participate in sometimes every night, walking through Winter Glow and seeing the different events. And I know that there are people that'll be coming in tonight, and I think it's Thursday or Friday to see their grandkids doing an event at the depot. We're having music events both of those nights.
I'll expand a little bit on, I had a conversation with Mark Saba, who's obviously submitted the application, and he wanted to relay that they are implementing data tracking systems. They're implementing a questionnaire to have a more robust application when they go for lodging tax funds next year.
Yeah, that's right, Kyle. Thanks.
If I could input something, Kyle, I would like to.
Yep.
So I have done some of the social media for Winter Glow. Also will be taking over their website next year. I can say that a lot of the social media that I do for other businesses, Winter Glow generates the most buzz. There are anywhere from 5 to 7 comments per day to our Facebook page, which is tremendous. So the impressions, the social media impressions that Winter Glow make in the community and beyond the community are absolutely amazing. I haven't seen that before with most of the events that go on through Liberty Lake. So I'm a big supporter, and I think it's a well-worthy cause, and I think we're very fortunate to have them here in our community. Any other
questions
other
from
questions?
committee members? Yeah.
Okay. Seeing none, like
Thank
to
you
move
all.
on. Like to move on to the Liberty Lake Kiwanis. We have a representative here.
We do. Mark, if you are ready to speak. I see him on. And I know you're on mute right now, Mark, if you were not already aware. So while we wait for him to get his mic situation squared away, I can provide a brief rundown. So Kiwanis has submitted each of the past several years that this funding has been available. And what they have put on in the past is an annual yard sale. And they contribute also to events at Barefoot in the Park annually each year. They put on a car show and different things of that. They do have their application here. Mark, are you on? Can we hear you?
Can you hear me now?
Fantastic. I'll give the floor to you.
Okay, greetings from the Oregon coast, everybody.
Okay, great.
Let's see. Yeah, so as mentioned, our application covers 2 events this year. Our annual yard sale, which is going to be held the 17th of June, and then also Barefoot in the Park, which is going to be held August 5th. The proceeds from the yard sale go to our foundation, which funds scholarships for area graduating seniors. And the scholarships can be college, trade school, whatever. Last year, we ended up handing out over $15,000 in scholarships, which was one of our better years. So, and then regarding Barefoot in the Park, actually that goes to any proceeds from there will go to the to our service account, which actually then helps us with activities at local area schools and also children-related businesses. So let's see, I think, well, and I know I'm going to be hearing the same question, so I might as well address that right now regarding lodging or either meeting or having data on the form, which you can see it isn't on there because we didn't have any. That's something that we need to do going forward. And we can commit to meeting with the lodging providers in Liberty Lake, possibly getting some links on our social media and on our web for certain events, as well as just a general link, just saying, hey, here's what's in Liberty Lake. One of those being, here's the lodging available. Any questions?
I don't have any questions.
Mark,
Awesome.
just real quick. Yeah. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead. I was just going to move on.
So Mark, prior to any, I guess, final contract discussion, we'll probably want to request a copy of the final budget that you guys have for 2023.
That'll be fine. I noticed when I looked at the other applicants compared to ours was sadly lacking. Our budget, we have one more board meeting to finalize it, we're hoping, and if we can get everybody to attend, and we will be happy to provide that.
I appreciate that. And this is always a really tough time, just a general statement on the procedure of awarding lodging taxes. Everybody's trying to pass their budget at the end of the year. So I do understand that this is kind of a crunch in every year in, late November and December, but we're trying to do all of these things simultaneously. So I appreciate any information you can get to us prior to finalizing anything. So
what is your drop dead date for that then?
So obviously it's dependent on any decisions that are made here today. But outside of that, it would be prior to, so anybody that's awarded lodging tax funds does need to sign a contract.
Yes.
Recognizes that these funds are provided on a reimbursement basis. So after the activity has occurred. And so prior to signing that contract, we'll need verification of what is included in the application.
Okay, and let me add one other thing regarding our request for the Barefoot in the Park. There was a meeting held after this was submitted, I believe. We attended with also representatives of the city, and they kind of laid out what it's going to consist of this year. Like there'll be food trucks, beer garden. We're going to go from 1 band to 2 bands. And so not quite sure how that's going to impact us. I know last year we ended up providing lodging for the band. that was there. So hey, there's one instance where it does benefit. The local lodging is, hey, we did put them up. I believe it was at the Best Western, and so going into this year, I don't know if depending on where the bands come from, there may be something similar. Yeah, that our request may be a little light, but we'll just have to see how the process continues going forward to make that determination.
Excellent. Any other questions from committee members?
Okay, seeing none, we can move on.
And so David,
I-
I'll jump in here real quick. Usually every year we hand the floor over to one of the lodging providers in the city. I don't see Denise on. I would like to give John Helwich the floor for a moment to allow him to provide us an update on the past year's activity at the Best Western and some highlights from his perspective.
Thank you for that opportunity. The Best Western enjoyed a very good year. It seems that post-COVID, a large majority of our senior or baby boomer population has decided to travel a whole lot more, and they're spending a whole lot more money to do so. Unfortunately, they're having to spend that money. Just cost of everything has gone up, and fortunately, we're in that same boat. We've seen our rates increase by 10 to 15%. Our employment costs have obviously, I'm not going to even get into all of that. Anybody who's been in business understands exactly what we're up against. It's our goal as the Best Western to be a great partner with the city. We know that now we're only 2 hotels. We know that that will not be the case. It's the relationships that we build right now that take us into the future. The Best Western invests internally in order to provide a great product. It has to in order to stay afloat. We benefit from Best Western's advertising. We pay a significant amount of money in order to be a part of Best Western's family, and they do extract it on the back end. Our part in this is really providing quality stay, fair pricing, and being available to support our community as we're able to, whether that's providing free conference room usage, other things. We have birthday party requests all the time, $20. Yeah, you can use the pool and bring 12 kids in, destroy the place. It's okay. Because it's about being a community partner. It isn't about making an extra $5. What we ask though, as far as the community goes, your part is that you promote us in exchange for the dollars that we bring in. 2% of over $3 million in income is a significant amount of money. That you engage the hotel as a partner, that you attract tourists who are not otherwise visiting. They're coming to see their family. Great. They're going to attend your events. That's wonderful. Come on, we'll help you promote those events. But what can we do to bring some additional folks in? We're not asking, as far as the hotel goes, for any summer business. We don't need it. We don't benefit. I guess I'll give you 2 other comments, maybe one that was there. I was approached by Visit Spokane. They wanted to raise the transportation assessment from $2 a stay to $4 per stay. I wrote well, it wasn't a very nice letter back, just indicating that Visit Spokane does nothing for Liberty Lake hotels. Everything that they promote is in city and nothing outside the city. We receive more business from Coeur d'Alene Tossoff here in Liberty Lake than we do from Spokane over filling. It's evident. People tell us they're here to go to Silverwood, and they're willing to stay, but they want to stay on this side because it was too expensive to stay on the Coeur d'Alene side. So setting summer aside, we starve 8 months out of the year. It costs us more to run the hotel than it does, than we receive an income coming in. So our summer months pay for those other months. this is when we really need your help. Your help to stay, to have the same quality of lodging that we currently do. We're spending several $100,000 this year to upgrade the rooms again. And this is money that we don't have post-COVID. That was very difficult to do. We're asked to provide funds to the lodging tax grant. We're asked to provide funds to the TPA assessments. But we are not receiving any return investment in our hotel. So that's where I talk about your part, our part. This lodging, City of Liberty Lake benefits from a lack of competition for these funds. Virtually, you're assured of your funding because the funding is there. Nobody else is asking for it. I think that's wonderful. It's great to see the activities that are going on, that are there. But I would ask that what you take from this meeting and from the approvals that are likely to come forward is how could you do a better job of promoting lodging for Liberty Lake? Maybe look at who's giving. And my last comment would be, when you got that restaurant bill, did you see a TPA tax on the bottom of it? Right. No. I get a call once a week from somebody in Portland, Oregon, who says, how come I had to pay 12.5% tax? You're ripping me off. And I have to explain to them, no, the city of Spokane requires that we assess these dollars on top of these dollars on top of these dollars. And I can only direct them to a website. But nobody likes paying additional charges that they're not going to see any benefit from. Nobody likes seeing those funds being extracted from them that they're not going to receive any benefit from. And I'll end my statement there. Thank you for your attention.
Appreciate it, John. All right, moving along. We're gonna proceed, David, into any
Okay.
other discussion that the committee members would like to have regarding, or any last thoughts, any other items we'd like to discuss regarding the applications before us today? David, Shannon, anything else?
No, I'm ready to move on to discussion. Shannon, if you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll proceed, David, then into committee recommendations for funding. And I think historically we've done this one by one, and I can tee it up for the committee to go forward, and we can have motions and seconds. I'll have you run that part, David, regarding
Sounds
funding.
good.
We will start with the Liberty Lake Rotary Club for 2023. They're asking for $10,000 for the rim ride. Is there any motion that the committee wishes to take on their application?
I move that the Lodging Tax Committee approve $10,000 for Rotary in Motion with the Kiwanis, or excuse me, with the Rotarians.
Thank you, David. I'll second.
All right, John seconds. All those in favor say aye.
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 John?
Oh, I said, yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. All right, that motion carries unanimously. We're going to move on to the hub. Hub's ask for 2023 events is $15,000. Is there any activity the committee wishes to take on their application for 2023?
I move that the committee approve the Hub Sports Center for $15,000.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Moving along. TAC at the Lakes ask for 2023 events was $20,000. Is there any action the committee wishes to take on their application for 2023?
Well, I'll move to approve their request for 2023 of $20,000.
Second that, please.
Motion by Shannon, second by David. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carries unanimously. Moving along. Winter Glow application for 2023 events was $15,000. Is there any action the committee wishes to take on their application for 2023?
I would like to move that the committee approve $15,000 for Winter Glow.
I'll second.
All those signify by, in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carries unanimously. And then finally, we have Kiwanis 2023 activities totaling $5,300. Is there any motion the committee wishes to take on their 2023 application?
I did have a question. I'm seeing 2,800. Am I missing part of that?
Yes, David. So they had two separate asks. One was for Barefoot in the Park. One was for the citywide yard sale. One was in the amount of $2,800. The other was in an amount of $2,500 for 2023,
I
totaling
see,
5,300.
I see that there. Thank you very much. I would like to move that the group approve for $5,300.
I second.
All those signify in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carries unanimously. And
Thank you all.
absolutely. And so we're going to run back through what council put in their rules of procedure is these ongoing public comments. So right now we'll stop and hear any public comment from those either on Zoom or in council chambers. We'll pause for a moment if anybody wants to make a statement. All right, hearing none. What we'll do is I'll keep the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee informed of how we want to proceed in terms of having those folks who are on the committee at this moment or at this time identify their continued wish to stay on the committee, or if we want to put it out to the community for any potential applications received that way. And so I'll have an update, let's say towards the end of the first quarter of 2023 regarding that and any future activity the Lodging Tax Committee wishes to take regarding potentially meeting more than once a year. And go from there. And with that, if there is no other business to attend to, we can adjourn this meeting. Last call for any last comments. All right, hearing none, we'll adjourn. Thanks, everybody.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody. Happy holidays.
You as well.
Merry Christmas.